Welcome, FAIRtax fans. Please enjoy this FAIRtax Power Radio Rewind, Stuck on Stupid from earlier this year. The FAIRtax Guys will be back next week with a brand new episode.
Hello, welcome again to FAIRtax Power Radio. I'm Bob Paxton.
And I'm Ron Malero.
And we are the FAIRtax Guys. And Ron, you're just going to have to bear with me here today. I am so excited.
You seem to be in a very good mood.
I am about to pop here. We have got an extremely significant announcement regarding the FAIRtax Power Radio show, and one that at the same time has just been profoundly impactful on me personally. Yes,
personally. And this is good.
So what we're talking about is we don't have an exact time on this yet, because they want to do some promotion and some build-up before they actually launch the program. But within a couple of weeks here, FAIRtax Power Radio will make its first appearance on a regular over-the-air broadcast radio station.
Yep.
And that would have been significant anytime, anywhere, any place.
That's right.
But come to find out, the radio station, and they contacted us about putting on the show, but the radio station in question is WTOB in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'm from Winston-Salem,
North Carolina.
I grew up listening to WTOB, and they call their DJs the good guys, and I desperately wanted to be a WTOB good guy, but unfortunately for me at the time, top-level professional radio stations don't hire starry-eyed high school kids that aren't professional broadcasters to be disc jockeys. So I never got to be a WTOB good guy. I got into the business later after I'd left Winston-Salem, gone to college, then moved down to Florida.
And his radio expertise is why we have a FAIRtax Power Radio.
But what's so cool, we've got to give a huge shout-out to Bob Scarborough, who, come to find out, is good friends with my brother, Andy. Now, Andy and I are like 8 years apart, so there's not a whole lot of commonality in our circle of friends, but Bob Scarborough knows Andy very well, and I don't know him hardly at all. We're working on that. We're Facebook friends now.
Yeah.
But I have discovered through some of the things that Bob Scarborough has posted to Facebook, he is very well versed in the FAIRtax. He is a real advocate for it. He understands it.
We had a conference call with him, and I was very pleased and impressed with his knowledge and his dedication to the FAIRtax.
That's it. Once you understand it, you'll demand it.
He is demanding it.
He understands it. And he reached out to us. In fact, we've had other radio stations reach out to us before, wanting to know, would y'all like to be on radio? I said, well, we want to reach the FAIRtax message to as many people as we can by any means we can.
We've gotten those emails before, and they're usually looking for
but that's it. As soon as we tell them, we'd love to do that. Oh, well, for the special low price of only X number of dollars a month, you can have your very own program on fill in the name of the radio station.
But we don't have X number of dollars.
And then when we tell them that we don't have a budget to maintain a paid program over at the time, it's, okay, see ya. And they're gone. About it. But Bob called up, and in our contact, he said, we explained that to him. He said, no problem. If we can't get your show on our radio station as an unpaid public affairs program, I will find a way to find the funding to get this on there. So he's not only supporting the FAIRtax, he's kind of putting his money where his mouth is. And of course, he's got friends. He says he's got friends that work at radio stations, friends that own radio stations, and he's going to try to expand the FAIRtax Power Radio to other radio stations up there, and largely in the Carolinas, but that can branch out from anywhere.
That's right. So once you get the foot in the door, hopefully it'll be easier. And this is the break that Bob and I have been waiting for 5 years.
Yeah, what's really cool is they're talking like maybe 6 months after the show's been on for a while, we're going to go up to Winston-Salem. We've been invited to go up there. We're going to do a special live FAIRtax Power Radio show from WTOB studios. Of course, we'll bring the video camera so we can make a regular FAIRtax Power Radio episode out of it. We'll be going down there, doing the whole 9 yards, taking no phone calls, and the next day, I get to pull an air shift on WTOB and be a good guy at least for one day.
That's great.
So I am all stoked until I look at Congress.gov. How's that for a segue?
Yes. Moving along, this is big news, but let's get back to the business at hand here.
And so, again, a huge thanks to Bob Scarborough, and we're looking forward to a long and prosperous relationship together and getting the FAIRtax out to the people. But you've got your congressional calendar. How many days have they been in session here now?
As of today, 152 days That's 2019 and this year too. It's the 116th Congress.
Okay, and
152 days.
If you go to congress.gov and you put the words Internal Revenue Code in the quotation marks into their search engine, as of our recording session today, you get back 1,411 hits on that search.
Yeah,
including H.R. 6011 to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to allow for non-recognition of gain on real property sold for use as affordable housing. I guess that means if you sell your house to the local housing authority and they're going to use it for affordable housing, then there's no capital gains tax on that sale if you do that.
Yeah.
Guess whose bill that is?
Enlighten me.
You can't read it that far.
No.
Adam Schiff.
Oh, okay.
I will resist the urge to call him Shifty, but that's Adam Schiff. And actually Bernie Sanders has one too. A bill to amend the Internal Revenue Code to restrict the tax benefits of executive deferred compensation and increase disclosure and for other purposes. And this is the one that really galls me. This is H.R. 5996, introduced a couple of days ago, to amend the Internal Revenue Code to require that return information from tax-exempt organizations be made available in a searchable format to provide the disclosure of the identity of contributors to certain tax-exempt organizations and for other purposes. If that's not targeting someone for political ideology, it never has been. And, we're going to make your tax return information available to everybody in a searchable database. What happened to your private, to tax returns or private information?
Yeah, and what happened to the Bill of Rights? Protection against unreasonable search and seizure.
Oh, that one just really galls my gizzard more than any one I've seen in quite a while. Hopefully that's one that's not going to make it into law.
Yeah. And lest we be accused of picking on Democrats, we're going to change the tables here in a little bit.
Okay. Well, that's because that was represented by David Cicilline. I've never heard of him. He's from Rhode Island, District 1. Hopefully they will decide that they do not want to put tax-exempt organizations' tax return information in a searchable database and tell the world all about it.
What purpose would that serve except to politicize, charitable organizations?
The thing is, though, if they want to disclose the contributors to certain tax-exempt organizations, what happens when the other party gets in power and now they use that against you instead of against the folks that you wanted to? So that's a bad idea. Just on the surface.
And in a little bit here, we're going to be talking about.
I'm saying you would think that whoever wrote that is stuck on stupid.
Yeah.
And that's the theme that you came up with.
That's right. That's today's theme, stuck on stupid.
You could not devise a dumber, more insane system for funding the federal government than the income tax.
And it gets worse every time these folks propose changes to the income tax.
I mean, how stupid is it to have a system where the government takes their share of your money before you even get it? Yeah. How stupid is it that they make you spend hours filling out forms and convincing them how much of your money you're allowed to get back? I mean, this is just an insane system, and people are stuck on it. They think it's the only way that it's ever going to be because that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
No way, folks. We are going to get rid of this stuck on stupid system and replace it with a fair tax.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I'm going to get some cheerwine. You can go ahead and work on that for a little while.
Okay. Anyways, Grassroots Corner, before we get into the stuck on stupid stuff, all right? This is Jim Bennett's Grassroots Corner from February 21st, Making the FAIRtax Stick, Part 2. Now, we talked about this a few weeks ago. In fact, he identified it January 31st in his Grassroots Corner. And he was talking about a book, Made to Stick, Why Some Ideas Take Hold and Others Come Unstuck. And he doesn't have the authors here, but anyways, Arrow Books, 2007. He said, and the principles, they identified 6 principles that will help your ideas stick with people, okay? And they spelled out the word success, which, yes, has 7 letters, but they just added the S at the end, all right? The first principle was simplicity, and we thought, that really fits the fair tax.
That's the fair tax.
Yeah, I mean, instead of this nonsense that Bob has been reading,
yes.
all right, the fair tax is so simple. You don't get this.
Now, for the people who are listening only and don't have the video, this is my 11 by 11 Rubik's Cube that is just scrambled all to pieces.
Yep.
And so you'll have to go to FAIRtaxGuys.com and watch the video to see the illustration here. But this sucker takes an hour and a half to solve when I get it home.
It takes you an hour and a half.
Yes.
Take me.
But that's the income tax. So there you go.
Yeah. So that that the fair tax is simple. Well, this time we're up to U in success, and the U stands for unexpected, doing something unexpected. At its core, the principle of unexpected says we lay out a principle that conforms to people's existing thought processes or belief system, and they tune out. So if you see a commercial on TV about something that you already know a lot about, so what? I'm going to go to the kitchen and get something to eat.
I mute it.
Yeah. But, and what he did, and I encourage you to go to fairtax.org, click news, and you can see all of the chairman's reports and the grassroots reports right there. And this one's from February 21st. Okay, so what he did in the text is he centered and bold-faced a couple of sentences so it would stand out. In other words, it would be unexpected. So he goes on. It's a fairly lengthy article, and he goes on to talk to people about, to explain how you can do things unexpected. He gives a number of examples and so forth. He says it's a corollary, a corollary of a surprise, doing something unexpected that grabs the listener or the viewer's attention. Okay. For instance, if I raise my voice and raise my hands like a typical Italian, trying to make a point, all right, that would get people's attention.
Yeah, if I swiped your hat, that would do something.
Okay. So, anyways, this is a good article. He's obviously really digested the book, and he's talking about we can use these ideas to help promote the fair tax. Okay. Here's an unexpected idea for the fair tax. People believe sales taxes affect the poor more than they affect the non-poor. All right. So you start off by telling people the fair tax is a sales tax that helps the poor. All right, that breaks the.
They'll say, huh?
Yeah. What do you mean? A sales tax is regressive. It hurts the poor. No, the fair tax is a sales tax that helps the poor.
Absolutely. Right? And we have just got the new 2020 prebate schedule.
Yeah.
The prebate, we've talked about that a lot here on Fair Tax Power Radio. That's what makes the fair tax progressive in its application, meaning that it does not hurt the poor. And I'm looking at this, I'm very interested in my prebate under the new system would be $489 a month. That's cool.
For a couple.
That's just me and the wife.
Yeah.
Family of four, $661 a month. Yep. Now, that's not an entitlement. That's your own money being given back to you that was collected from you that you don't owe. But how many people
Plus, Uncle Sam is not taking anything out of your retirement
you're getting your whole paycheck, your whole retirement distribution, plus family of four would be getting $661 a month back in fair tax prebate if the fair tax were the law of the land today. Yep. So if you would like to bring home your whole paycheck, and if you would like, if you're a family of four, to get a $661, probably a direct deposit rather than a paper check, but $661 a month from the federal government to pay your taxes up to your poverty level spending, you're a fair tax fan and don't know it yet.
That's right.
There we go.
That's right.
Okay.
I put that video up on our Facebook page a few days ago. Okay.
Now,
or if you really don't like withholding being taken out of your paycheck or your retirement check, well, with the fair tax, you can forget about it.
Sonny. I know. Well, let's get on the stuck on stupid here.
Yeah,
we're having way too much fun.
I hope you're keeping time because I forgot to start my timer as usual.
I am a professional broadcaster. Yes, I'm keeping time.
It's a darn good thing,
and
too.
this producer's helping us out with that as well.
All right. So, Here's the beginning. Here we're going to continue with our stuck on stupid, all right? House Republican proposals using the tax code to combat climate change.
Wait a minute. They should be using the tax code to collect revenue for the government.
Yeah.
Where do they get off on these other tangents?
This is by Josh Siegel from the Washington Examiner, January 8th of this year, 2020. Republican representative from New York, Tom Reed, will unveil a bipartisan bill Wednesday to provide federal tax subsidies for a first-of-a-kind clean energies technology for combating climate change. We're putting our thumb on the scale to encourage energy innovation through the tax code, okay?
Now, encouraging energy innovation is a good idea. I'm not sure the tax code is the proper vehicle to do it with.
Well, and it says here, many Republicans have supported tax subsidies, but the party has mostly focused on increasing research and development spending to address climate change. Okay, in other words, address it through the spending part of what Congress does. Mm-hmm. Leave the tax code alone. It's complicated enough. And his final comment here is just precious. Hopefully, this shows that there are Republicans who want to come to a compromise position on climate change and use the tax code in a way that can solve this problem. No, use the tax code to collect revenue.
Yes.
Period.
Now, what's missing in that article are the specifics of exactly what they want to do with the tax code.
Yeah.
How much tax they want to levy on who for what.
I think we have 1,411 examples, don't we? Yeah. If anybody wants a little light reading before they go to bed.
That 1,411 again refers to the number of hits you get back on Congress.gov.
So I got that a while ago. Like I said, it was dated in January, and I also get every day a morning text from Politico. It's a summary of what's going on in Washington with the tax code. And one day I was looking at it and I thought, they always pick 3 articles and they kind of elaborate a little bit, and all 3 of them jumped out at me as like, these people are stuck on stupid. They are trapped in the income tax box and they can't get out. They can't think their way out. Okay. All right. The White House is reportedly looking at a way to boost savings for lower and middle class families, but is this an area of bipartisan cooperation? And then, let's take a look here. Let's keep talking. The news on President Trump's oft-discussed new tax proposal keeps coming out in dribs and drabs, and the latest is that the plan is expected in September and could include a 10% tax cut for middle-income folks. Okay. Friday also brought out some interesting extra reporting on the so-called Tax Cuts 2.0, citing 4 senior administration officials saying that the White House wants more incentives for regular people to save and invest. Well, that's good. Savings and investing is a very important part of a healthy economy.
Yes.
And
it would be nice if we had a tax code that encouraged that, don't you think?
Yeah, like not taxing interest and dividends.
Yes, and not taxing capital gains. And
where would we get such a tax plan, Bob?
How about looking right there on your shirt?
Oh, okay.
We get that from the FAIRtax. That's exactly what it does.
So, anyways, but the left and the right have long taken different approaches, you think? And landed on different solutions for achieving the goal, and they go on with that, all right? Both solutions involve making the tax code more complicated. That's my note that I put in the bottom. So, again, they're stuck on stupid. They want to use the tax code for manipulating. Yeah, savings and investment is good. We already said that. But yeah, let's use the tax code. Let's keep it simple and just collect taxes with it.
Where has that worked? Using the tax code for those kind of purposes, it usually ends up the industries that are getting the tax breaks. A lot of times they go belly up.
Yeah.
So that really hasn't worked. And stuck on stupid means you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. So
that's right. That's Einstein's definition of insanity.
Yeah, that's what we've got here.
Yep.
And Einstein also said that he can't think of anything more complicated than the tax code. And he was around in the 40s. I mean, that was 60 years ago, 80 years ago.
Yep. Just think. Okay, the next one.
What it looks like now.
House Democrats pressing a federal judge to pick back up their case, seeking to compel the White House to release President Trump's tax returns.
Back to the privacy of the tax returns.
Yeah. There is this thing called the Bill of Rights. All right, now, have they, and I'm going to be partisan here, all right? I'm going to be partisan on the part of the FAIRtax, all right? Have they identified a crime? Have they identified some kind of an offense? Has the IRS come out and said Donald Trump is cheating on his tax returns? Has any of that happened? No, but they want the tax returns because they want to go on an Easter egg hunt and find something. The problem is they might find something that they claim is embarrassing, all right? But they, being people in Congress, are the ones that have passed the tax laws. And they are the ones that have created a situation where millionaires and billionaires can take legal tax deductions and exemptions and thereby legally reduce their tax burden. All 100% legal.
And those guys get audited all the time. They know that everything they submit is going to be scrutinized 6 ways from Sunday. And I can guarantee that people like Donald Trump and Warren Buffett, folks that have, 7, 8, 9-figure bank accounts, they are paying a pretty penny to an army of tax accountants and tax attorneys to make sure that they are within the letter of the law, because they know they got a big old target right on their back trying that the IRS would love to nail them.
Absolutely. And that's right. We've reported on that before. The IRS has a division that just looks at the mega wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. Almost like a 4-letter word. Several prominent Democrat presidential candidates are reiterating they don't want to raise gas tax. Okay, now the gas tax is not related to the fair tax, but wait till you hear this. Okay. All right. Has to be another way, right? Democratic presidential contenders have been pretty conspicuous in avoiding gas tax increases in their transportation platforms. And while even some Republicans on the Hill are sounding open to proposals like vehicle miles travel tax. Mm-hmm. 4 candidates in an infrastructure forum in Vegas over the weekend said they're more likely to rely on broader-based tax increases in other areas. Now, where do you think the broader-based tax increases in other areas are? Yep, they want to raise the corporate tax, okay? Again, stuck on stupid. Corporations don't pay taxes. I'm going to do the Italian thing again here. Okay. Corporations, come on, what's wrong with you? Corporations don't pay taxes. It's an expense of doing business. It gets rolled into the cost of their...
They write a check to Uncle Sam, but then they cover that cost in the prices of their goods and services.
That's right.
People.
Yeah.
And largely their customers, and to some degree their shareholders and employees, people, individuals, pay every penny of every corporate tax that's levied on any business anywhere in the country.
Every time.
Absolutely.
Every time, yep. So if these candidates that are talking about raising corporate taxes, if they don't understand that corporations only pass on those tax increases to their customers, employees, and shareholders, they shouldn't be running for president, all right? Because they're stuck on stupid. If they do understand it and they're being disingenuous, they shouldn't be running for president. Although it wouldn't be the first time that we had somebody disingenuous running for president. So. Anyways, and there's a little, they got a first look here, which is like a preview of upcoming things. All right, the battle between banks and credit unions over the latter's tax exemption has been going on for a long while, and with credit unions scheduled to do a congressional fly-in next week, and so the right-leaning National Taxpayers Union is weighing in on the bank's behalf. So the credit unions and the banks are going back and forth about the tax exemption, and who is the winner here? The lobbyists. The lobbyists, not the banks or the credit unions. The lobbyists make out like bandits.
And who is the loser? Those of us that get all those costs passed on to us.
Yeah, so
that's insane. So we've got to get people off of this stuck on stupid thing.
Yeah.
We've got to get people to realize that the income payroll tax system is the definition of stupid, but it's also something you don't have to get stuck on. We can get rid of it.
Yeah, that's right.
If we elect enough people to Congress that will support the fair tax, not just co-sponsor it. Co-sponsors are nice, but we want folks that are actively supporting the fair tax, actively advocating for the fair tax, and getting rid of the income tax, getting rid of withholding, getting rid of the payroll taxes, getting rid of tax returns, getting rid of all the nasty things that come with an income tax, and just replace that with a simple consumption tax like the fair tax, and we will have accomplished our mission in life if we get enough people to realize that they don't have to be stuck on stupid. It does not have to be this way simply because the political ruling class says it does.
Yep. And that's what Bob and I are working towards. Got time for one more short one?
Really quick.
Okay, I'm just going to read the intro. Hope you've got time. A senior Treasury official said Thursday it would take years to sort out all the regulatory issues with the 2017 tax law.
Years to sort out all the regulatory
years to because they will issue statutes, but then the IRS has to write the regulations to comply with the statutes, and it'll take years to do it. So the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which was supposed to be the be-all and end-all of tax reform for a generation, is creating... The ruling class of the bureaucratic class in Washington loves this. Job security.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So,
well, I tell you, if you're tired of being stuck on stupid, there's some things you can do to fix this. First and foremost, you can join Americans for Fair Taxation. Now, there's no specific membership dues for it. No. You can contribute whatever you want. You can join it whatever you want to, but we need, of course, we do need finances, but we need numbers more than anything else. We need to make sure that when AFFT goes before Congress, we represent this number of people, and the bigger that number is, the more attention that the Congress critters will pay to them, because they figure that translates into votes.
Where do they go to join?
They go to fairtax.org. Very simple. That's where everything is. And of course, if you live in a state that has a state-level fair tax organization, you can get involved there. If you don't have a state-level organization in your state, get a hold of us, get a hold of Randy Fisher, get a hold of Steve Hayes. Any and all of us will be happy to help you start one.
Yep.
We'll know how to do that. Of course, we ask people to share the FAIRtax Power Radio videos, tell folks about the program, tell folks about the podcasts. And if you're in Winston-Salem, listen on WTOB. That would be nice. And call your local talk shows, write letters to the editor. There's lots of things you can do that cost very little or nothing.
Yeah, that's right. A little bit of your time.
All of it added together will get the fair tax taken care of, get it passed, and get rid of this stuck on stupid income tax system.
And another thing you can do is, I'll spend more time on this.
Take a scrolling banner to your candidate's
there you
town hall, and go to the logo store, get you a hat or a shirt, and show up in your fair tax gear at one of these things. So that really works quite well. So that's it.
I'll tell you what. That's about it for FAIRtax Power Radio.
I am still so stoked about being on the radio station up there that I grew up listening to. Ready to go back up there and have at it. So again, thank you to Bob Scarborough and WTOB for picking up FAIRtax Power Radio. Hopefully, he can succeed in getting it spread out to some other stations around. But
that's the part that's exciting to me.
It's
good enough to be going on one radio station, but he has real plans for expanding our reach.
I hope so. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of FAIRtax Power Radio. Thank you so much for listening and watching. My little thing's going off. I'm Bob Paxton.
and I'm Ron Malero.
The FAIRtax Guys reminding you that the fair tax is the only truly fair tax, and once you understand it,
you'll demand it.
The FAIRtax is a tax replacement plan where we take all the federal income taxes, including corporate, personal, gift, and estate taxes, and replace them with one national consumption tax on new purchases, above the poverty level only. This form of consumption tax comes with no exceptions and is progressive, not regressive. The poor are not paying more, and the rich are not paying less. What makes it progressive is that all Americans are untaxed up to the poverty level via the prebate, much like your standard tax deduction. The taxes are collected by retail businesses at state level, so the system is more accountable. The IRS is done away with, and you have control over your money and what the overall tax rate your household pays. The fair tax is revenue neutral, so the government receives the same amount of money as they do now. And it's fair because you decide what's fair, not them. To learn more, visit FAIRtax.org and be sure to like us on social media to help educate your friends and spread the word.